everybody, and welcome to another exciting, fun-filled, expeditious episode of Radiorama, where, as the name entails, I show you how to work on radios and other stuff that runs on glowing vacuum tubes from the 1930s through about the 1960s or thereabouts. I'll probably expand as time moves on, but we have this lovely Zenith AM/FM radio, and I know it looks kind of dirty, but it's one of the nicer ones of this model, and I can never remember model numbers, but it is I'm guessing it could be a G724. Let me look at the bottom here. Oh, it's still got the label. Good. That's the chassis number. That's not the model number. But it's typical for what I was expecting to see on an AM/FM Zenith radio. We got a 35B5, 19T8, 12AT7, 12B8. Well, two 12BA6s, three 12BA6s, and one 12A6. The cord was rotten, so I cut it off and threw it away. The sticker's even in good shape on this. It is the FM Armstrong system, which in my opinion, and people can fight me over this, was the superior FM system of the day. The fact of the matter is that even though the cord is rotten on this, there's a fairly good chance that it still works. Why? Because Zenith made really good radios and really good electronics in general. They were seriously right. If you had to pick a Toyota of radios back then, they were it. There were certain time periods where they made some garbage. Late 30s, early 40s, they made some garbage. But 50s all the way to the end. They lasted all the way up till 2000. The name is still around, but excellent engineering, good quality, no nonsense construction. So now that I've said that, I don't even know what it looks like on the inside. Who knows what's inside? It could be completely infested with rats or their leftover rat droppings, but I don't think so, because they would have had to be awful skinny mice to fit through those tiny little holes. So let me take the back off and let's just take a look inside and see what kind of stuff I'm about to get myself into. I pulled the chassis out because it's might as well. It's easier to look at, and very nice. I don't see any. It looks like we just had a couple of tubes replaced in here. So these were good radios. So people would probably. I've had a few of these that have had obvious lots and lots of hours on them. And as typical for most Zenith radios that I work on, especially from this era, it's never been worked on because no one's needed to work on it. That said, I'm not going to power it up, and the reason, do you see this stuff here? Kind of that black goo. That's to enter that electrolytic capacitor. So I'm not even going to try to fire this up. That would be stupid. Now, this is a hot chassis set, and a lot of people are going to think to themselves, oh no, pandemonium, it's the end of the world. Well, the truth of the matter is there's a right way and a wrong way if you're going to do a hot chassis set. And Zenith did it all right, even in the late 40s. First of all, they had a safety disconnect for the back. You could not remove the back to service the tubes unless you took the back off. Secondly, all of the controls are mounted on a piece of plastic material, so all of these are isolated. One piece actually fell off that I need to put back on. It's this. They even have shields that go behind here, so that if you were to somehow take the knobs off and somehow get your fingers past a little hole back here, you wouldn't be able to touch that. This is ripping. I need to fix this before I do anything else. Well, here's a few little pointers before I get carried away. This is the underside of your electrolytic capacitor. And if you look right here, you'll see kind of like a little triangle right there. Let me push this lug back a little bit so you can see. See, it's kind of a triangle shape embossed there. Now this other one, there's only two capacitors in here, and the other shape is square. And the reason I know that is because if you turn this over and you look inside on the side of this can, you'll see where it says triangle and square. Square is 80 and triangle is 40. I know that's not easy to see. So that means that our 80 microfarad capacitor is going to come off this yellow lead. Whoops, I got my hand in the way. Such an idiot. All right. That means that this guy right here, which has the yellow wire, is going to be our 100 microfarad or 80 microfarad capacitor, and this other one is 40. I'm going to replace the 80 microfarad one with this 100 microfarad one, and the 40 microfarad one with this 47 microfarad capacitor. Now, all of these are marked with their values, and if you see these are all marked as well. 0.02 microfarad, 600 volts DC. Some of these will look like this. There's a wax they put on the outside. If they're in a hot environment, sometimes they'll bubble up a little bit like that. But all of these need to be replaced. I wouldn't trust any of them. And there's one in here that's going to be the across the line capacitor. And that one should be obvious. I'll find it later. Need to replace that one with an actual across the line rated capacitor, X2, Y2. I can't remember, X1, Y2, one of those. It's critical. They look like this, in case you're curious. Anyhow, I know I'm not supposed to do this, so I'm going to shotgun the whole thing, which means I've got all my values out here. The values are all printed here, so I just look and replace like with like. It's not the end of the world. And but I wanted to at least see if I have any life on it by just replacing the electrolytics first and doing a test fire, see if there's any life at all. Okay, I've done the bare minimum, which is to say I replaced the electrolytic capacitors. There was one capacitor next to it that was kind of in the way, so I was like, well, I'll replace that one too. So let's see if it works. Looks like the neon bulb is on, so that must mean it turned on. And see tube filament here. Make sure everything's in its socket. We got some dirty contacts. Let's see. Jesus, sorry. Let's see if that takes care of that.
Years of high-flying dumps. 100 years.
I've had so many problems with this wafer switch over the years. We got some dirt going on in the volume control too. This is one of those ones that's hard to get into, so I just soaked the entire exterior of it.
And you'll change the lives of blood cancer patients. I am committed. I am TNT. After 600,000 participants, your tickets to the one. When you own a business, it feels like
That's probably FM. Let's see if I can pick up.
Brigadier General Pam Bondi speaking this week on a podcast hosted by.
Do you see more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech?
Well, we're off to a good start. That's with most of the old capacitors still in there with dirty pin sockets, probably. Or tube sockets, dirty pins on the tubes. And the whole 9 yards. Let me unplug it for a minute. Alright, it's unplugged. It's barely warm. It's probably okay, but you should replace it anyway, because they blow up, you'll be real sorry. It'll be like the Easter Bunny laid a whole shit ton of eggs in your house and let them go all at once. Well, here is the rest of the recapping job. And before I continue, I just realized something. I think that's a capacitor too, and I missed it. But anyway, I've replaced everything else on it. I'll probably look at that in a minute. But I want to make sure it still works before I do the next thing that needs to be undone, which is replace that selenium rectifier. I'm a little bit hesitant because I feel like lately I'll be working on a Zenith or some other set I've done a whole lot, and I'll be like, I've got this in the can. I know it'll work. And then I've done something horribly stupid and it doesn't. So I'm kind of like, maybe it won't work. Then I won't be so disappointed. So we'll see what it does.
Quarter offensively. The first couple of games, Orlando, they
God to forgive you.
What's wrong with that? We in the VIP twisted, downright stiff there. Two-way it, nigga like an Come on. Hey, where the party at? Girls is on the way with a Bacardi at. Models and models talking all of that. No, I can't forget about my love. Where the party at?
Okay, I realize I made a mistake here. The cross the line cap is that one, and this one should be a much higher value on purpose because that is acting as the tone control cap or associated with, so I need to swap that out, but otherwise it's still working fine. That makes me very happy.
All working tirelessly to deliver exceptional care to anyone who needs it. We're focused on improving the well-being of people all across the Bay Area.
All right, well, off to a decent start, so let me correct that before I do anything else, and then I'm going to replace the selenium. Okay, well, everything still works, and it works better now because now I have a little bit more tone in the tone control. All right, look at there, there's one more capacitor. Well, I'll replace that in a minute, but this thing needs to be replaced. Usually they're pretty reliable, but this style particular, if they blow up or they short out, they're going to fill your house with the most disgusting smelling smoke ever imaginable. So it's a good idea to replace that. So I'm going to replace it with this diode. And that diode is far more efficient. That tiny little thing here, that's the diode. It's far more efficient than this thing. And so we'll need to back it off a little bit to drop the current just a little bit downwards. So I'm going to put in a 50 ohm resistor. Actually, it's 47. That'll be coming off of the basically the positive end, so to speak, of the diode. I can never remember this. It's like an IN something or whatever 4000. What does it say here? I swear to God, I'm dyslexic or something. I can't remember things anymore. This is why I can never be a real engineer, because all the other engineers are rolling their eyes in their heads like, what are you talking about? These things. You can buy them for like a billion of them for 50 cents or something, or at least you could. And so this is the little terminal strip that I'll mount it on. It'll fit right there. And then you won't have to worry about that blowing up ever again. Okay. I'm always leery when I do this because I feel like I'm dyslexic, so now I mark things real clearly. But this is the diode and the compensating resistor, and they're outside the chassis, so they'll stay nice and open to the air and cool. But if you put it in there backwards, you'll be real sorry. And I'll know real quickly if that happens. So I'm going to turn it on, and then like be right here to turn it off immediately if I see anything nasty. All right, here we go. I'm holding my breath. I feel like something would have blown up by now. Yay, hooray. I made it.
First was really a good play. And then, look, he's figuring it out, got up.
Bottom line, though, but out back.
I feel like we lost AM. I think I still got some bad contacts in.
Did not look like it.
Hi, here with you.
Crap. Well, let me clean those contacts up some more.
像设备以及各种手术器械的进步，就促进了腹腔镜为。
We have to then focus.
Interesting meeting this.
Deep in the North American wilderness.
With real fruit juice, probiotics, which helps.
Oh man, I'm starting to feel so fucking old. Oh, that's like the oldies station now. 80s and 90s stuff. Anyway, let me flip this over. I want to clean the tubes, tube sockets, and the chassis, and then it'll be time to clean the cabinet. All right. Last thing I'm going to do for today is clean the cabinet. You can see how shiny that is. That is what was under the handle. So I'm going to use some car wax and some plastic polish. And hopefully get it closer to being like that. And be careful not to use any heavy detergents on this. Welcome to day 2 working on the Zenith. And to reiterate, yesterday I recapped it. I still have this one cap here that I keep forgetting. I promise I'll get to that. And I've replaced the rectifier with this modern diode. So it's working pretty well. It's working pretty well.
Warmth of Fiji as you relax and explore the breathtaking beauty of the islands. 1164 means from Shell when joining the fuel reward.
A little dirty dirt going on in the volume control, but I'll take care of that too. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, which will be the last thing I do electrically to this, is add an audio input feature so that you, if you want, could listen to something else besides what's on AM and FM radio. And we started doing this at the museum years ago because when we took these to shows, initially, antique shows, the value and usability of these becomes so much greater if you can use them to listen to what you want to listen to. Because, let's face it, most of the sets we sell are AM only, and there's not as much music on AM as there used to be. And a lot of the people that get these from us tend to be a lot younger, so they'll have, their mobile devices. And so we have added this input so you can plug in a Bluetooth or some other audio device of the future, because who knows? I get a feeling the 3.5 millimeter cable is going to be around for quite a bit longer. Bluetooth, I don't know. Maybe they'll have purple tooth in a few years. But anyway, you want to make sure that it's compatible with whatever you're going to plug into it. And it's easy to do on these sets because electrically it has a little amplifier inside, and all we need to do is just bypass the radio section and go directly to the amplifier section. And we're going to do it just by going right to the volume control. And there are 3 lugs on the volume control. There's one on either end and then one in the center. The top of the volume control is where your radio signal comes in, which I think is going to be this striped looking cable here, because it's the only thing going to that part of the volume control. And then the other side has to be ground because you've got a resistor going to ground, and then you've got the other side of the switch going to ground too. So that's got to be negative. So what I'm going to do to test this is I'm going to temporarily clip the wire that's going, well, this volume control. I'm going to snip that little wire and see if the radio signal still comes through. Yeah, that is the radio signal, because now when I clip that, all I get is a little hum, and that's what I want. Because what that means is when I plug anything else in, an audio signal right here, it'll be a clean audio without any radio interference. But I'll have to add a switch that comes out of the back of the set so that we can restore the radio functionality. Okay, and don't worry, all that snot-looking stuff is glue, because I was using this to mix up some epoxy the other day. These are all the ingredients that I'm going to use to add some audio to this set. And I'm going through this electrically what could be referred to as an isolation transformer. It's just a wall wart. So the primary side is where your 120 volts comes in, and this is where the 12 volts comes out. And how this is going to work, because I'm going to run the audio signal from one of these cables through the secondary, and in the primary will go to the volume control up here. Now, we can't just do it willy-nilly like that. We have to have some ingredients. And first thing I'll need to do is tie the right and left channels together so we get mono. And you do that by getting two resistors, and you twist two of their ends together and you leave two ends free. Just drop the tool. And then on the primary side, what you want to do is put a shunt between the transformer and the volume control, because if you leave that transformer in place, it's going to affect the audio quality of the radio. And this is an FM radio, so we don't want to mess with that. So you need to make sure and put that there first. I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. Okay, so I've got everything installed on the transformer. I have the right and left channels running together, and then I have my little shunt that goes to the volume control. I'll shorten all these cables because they're really wiggly and all over the place, and it's going to make a lot of interference. But just to demonstrate, I'm running the Bluetooth, which is this little square thing with the blue blinking light, and it's running through the audio now. You can turn the volume up more on the phone, but that's pretty loud. Yeah, it definitely does not like me touching it because, well, I'm part of the circuit now. Device is too hot. Video quality may be reduced. I don't know why my phone is overheating so much. It's what YouTube recommended. Anyway, kind of weird playing brand new spanking music like that out of this radio, but you know what? Someone will. Never know what someone will choose to do with this, and you know what? That doesn't sound too bad, really. Anyway, what I did is I put a layer of glue over the top of all those components so that if it ever breaks free, there's nothing exposed for anything to hit. I used Gorilla Super Glue Gel to glue that to the case, and I roughened up both surfaces with sandpaper. It's pretty hard to get those to come off. Once they set there, I have to use a screwdriver to pry them off. And there's our switch in the back here so that we can turn radio signal and disconnect the Bluetooth. Now we have radio. He said.
This was May 2012.
Yeah,
I don't know much about new tech.
what has happened?
So I went to Staples and saved big on an AI-powered HP laptop and HP OfficeJet Pro printer, which also came with 3 months of free instant ink repair.
So I've still got a problem with the damned switch here. I've had problems with these before. You just have to absolutely clean the living crap out of this. I can't put this back together unless I know that's going to work reliably. Well, working all right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to work that back and forth a whole bunch, and you don't need to see that. Let's make sure that we got a good wear pattern in on those connections, and so it's going to be good and clean. Still got a little cracklies on the volume control, so I'll have to work on that a little bit, but in the meantime it seems like it's working great. That's on the Bluetooth input. I'm going to add this tiny little switch in the back, and that restores the radio. Whoops.
And even the cost. If you suffer from ED or Peyronie's disease, by Whole Foods Market. Now at Whole Foods Market, save 20% off bone-in beef short ribs with Prime through September 23rd. Anglicized pronunciations.
Deseo, mi amor, que sepas también.
We'll do that for AI.
The question is, as far as I'm concerned, does Google get to use the same techniques that it used to win and dominate search, hold search, for AI?
Judge Mehta assigned a technical committee to oversee.
Final homestand, I should say, of the final two series of.
Tim, thank you. The KCBS Bay Area forecast clear, comfortable overnight. The wood.
All right, well, it seems to be working. Now, just because it's working now doesn't mean I should just like say it's done. It is done for this video, but I'm going to let it play probably for the better part of next few days in my garage. I just find if you let these guys run for a few days and they're still working okay, then you're good. It gets hot inside these little cabinets. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching this episode of Radiorama. Until the next time something comes across my workbench, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.